everyone, Aaron here for Zolotech, and today Apple released iOS 15.3.1 to the public. This is available now at the same time everywhere around the world.
Hello， 大家好 ，Aaron 喺度，快 Mac，iOS 15.3.1咧喺全世界已經有得 download 啦，因為呢個只係一個 security update 嘅細 bug 嘅啫，咁可能都係今次嘅節目啦。
希望各位準時參與。
幾 basically 咧佢，等陣我用 Webex。
今日有錯事啊！
就只係一個 security change 嗰啲 update 咁，我而家即刻 download 咗俾大家睇。即係而家11日佢因為 full 啦，而家 battery full。Apple release 咗同時出 iPadOS 15.3.1、WatchOS 8.4.2，暫時知兩個 Apple 會 release 同埋 macOS 12.2.1。
Build number and talk about what's new. So we'll go to settings.
For build number,
general. About under software version. If you tap on the
如果係13 Pro 咧，呢部機咧就會係19D52，得播放部嘅條線，跟住就 update。
Tap on the software version there, you'll see the build number, and the build number just lets us know that we're on the current version. You can see the build number is 19D52, and anytime we have a 15.3 and then 0.1, it typically means we have a bug fix and security update. There was something critical that Apple needed to resolve. And the first thing is there is no modem update on the 15.3.1, at least
15.3.1係冇呢個暫時冇咩 modem update 嘅暫時。
5G, 4G, LTE, or anything like that. This shouldn't be really any different than the previous update of 15.3 since they haven't updated the modem. However, they have resolved a few issues. Now, the first thing that they've actually resolved and they've mentioned has to do with accessibility. If we go to settings, then we go to accessibility, if you're visually impaired, you can use a third-party Braille Display. And people were having issues with this where it wouldn't respond sometimes. So if you were using a Braille Display, whether you're visually impaired or you needed it to learn Braille, it should now work properly. So that's great to see. They've fixed that bug, and if you were having that, hopefully it's resolved it for you. Earlier today, Apple also released a press release about AirTags and unwanted tracking. There's been
unwanted tracking around this
AirTags, and maybe they're not just tracking things like backpacks anymore. So you'll see as we scroll down, they've been working with law enforcement, and it says advancements coming to AirTag and the Find My network. New privacy warnings during AirTag setup, addressing alert issues for AirPods, and updated support documentation. So
AirTag 呢個問題可以解決咗。
around this, and there will be changes in the future so that we can have more information if there's an AirTag around us that doesn't belong to us. So we'll see those updates in the near future. As far as other issues they've resolved, well, the one thing they haven't mentioned is the pink screen issue. They've acknowledged that publicly, but the pink screen, what that means is the display would turn pink or purple and then fully reboot. They haven't mentioned whether they've fixed that or not, and they didn't fix it in iOS 15.4 betas yet, so we're waiting to see if that's resolved. However, with the storage, it does appear that it's much better now. Now, they haven't mentioned it publicly, but if we go to General, then iPhone storage, on all the devices, I've tested it here with the 12 Pro, or the 12 Pro Max and the iPhone SE second generation, it seems to load much, much faster and be accurate.
用晒就當播毒冇，我哋一齊死啦，死都要自盡㗎啦。
5 seconds or less, and fully populated with all of the different storage, including system.
冇得賣㗎啦，應該都。
Doesn't show up. So hopefully that's resolved for most people. Most people said it was working for them in 15.3, but there were some issues where it wasn't. Now it seems to be fully working in this update. So it looks like it's resolved for you, but they haven't mentioned it publicly. The other thing they haven't mentioned is there's a music bug that they had with 15.3 and earlier versions, where if you're streaming music, maybe you're streaming instead of downloading it to your device, it can use excessive CPU cycles and in turn cause the phone to use a lot of I'm not sure if that's resolved yet, as they haven't mentioned it. We'll know after a few days. Now, there is a security update in this update, and you can see that yourself on the security website. Down. So if you go to the security website, you'll see the latest versions here with macOS Monterey 12.2.1, WatchOS 8.4.2, and iOS and iPadOS 15.3.1. If you scroll down, you'll see there's one fix, and it has to do with WebKit, or what's the underlying code for Safari. And so as you can see, it says impact. Processing maliciously crafted content may lead to arbitrary code execution. Apple is aware of a report that this issue may have been actively exploited. To fix this, after free issue was addressed with improved memory management, and then someone let them know
update 緊，我睇緊條片講乜？
So they've resolved this. It's a security update and patched a very critical issue. The same thing has been patched on iPad as well. So all of those things are resolved in this particular update. Now, as far as if you should install iOS 15.3.1, if you're on a previous version of iOS 15, many people said 15.3 was the best version as far as overall performance and everything else. With 0.1, you're getting a security update and a bug fix, so I would highly recommend it. Of course, if you're having an issue with accessibility and the Braille Display, definitely install it. However, if you're on the beta, I wouldn't necessarily roll back to this version, as we should have newer betas in a little while. Now, as far as when to expect iOS 15.4 Beta 3, we can expect that probably next week, maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday, the 15th or 16th of February, with maybe a beta the following week. So we could be on a 1 to 2 week cycle. We're not sure yet, but if we're on a 1 week cycle, we can expect a beta next week, then another one the following week, with maybe a release candidate in the first week of March, with the final release sometime in the second week of March, where we expect a new Apple event on March 8th. So it looks like that.
大概咧，可能
they haven't announced this publicly,
今年嘅 Apple event 咧，第一個 event 春天嘅 event 咧會喺3月8號。咁大概就嚟緊啦，有呢個預告啦。大概 battery life 今次就好啲嘅，有人話70%都 OK 嘅。
So it does seem to be doing well for them. As far as what you can expect, I wouldn't expect a change. However, after installing the update, the device will have to do things such as index in the background. That will use some power, and it may not be great battery the first day, but it improves over the next day or two. So we'll be checking that out over the next couple of days. Also, the device was quite warm after installing the update. In fact, it's still a little bit warm. I wouldn't really be concerned about that, as it's typically doing a lot of processing and things in the background. So that's typically what's going on after you install an update. If it doesn't ever cool down, maybe do a hard reboot. But the other devices I have here are nice and cool, so I wouldn't worry about heat or anything like that. But the 13 Pro does seem to be processing quite a bit. As far as overall performance is nice and smooth. ProMotion seems to be working well, and I haven't noticed any problems whatsoever. It seems nice and smooth, and as far as on older devices as well, I wouldn't expect it to be much different, since it's just a bug fix and security update. Typically, you're going to see a
bug fix and security update
performance when it comes to that. And so that's everything in iOS 15.3.1, some bug fixes and security fixes, and not a whole lot more. We expected this, but we expect many more features with 15.4, and later on, 2022, which should be around June, where we see iOS 16. So typically,
iOS 16會喺大概22年嘅6月啦，會出啦，大概 iOS 16。
I'd love to hear from you in the comments below, and of course, if you'd like to get your hands on this wallpaper, I'll link it in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already, though, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
好啦，所以睇條片先開完。OK， 我哋轉翻陣間啦，轉翻場睇嚟。咁樣呢度一陣咧，我哋呢度轉睇會有離殺嘅。因為等直播畫面嚟嘅，其實。都係等 update 完之後先啦，繼續。好，聽住離殺先。